today, we have Natalia Ruelas. Did I pronounce it correctly?
That
Okay,
was so
perfect.
perfect.
Okay, perfect. Because I practiced for like 2 seconds. But Natalia is working with Drako Media. She's an amazing programmatic unicorn slash account manager. She'll be talking to us about media planning with a data first mindset. As a reminder, we had Stuart from the Drako Media team in the last episode. He pretty much set the foundation for the conversation I'm going to have with Natalia, which is all about media planning. Because I feel like we focus on performance, 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 and we forget that in order to have performance, we have to start. It starts with the planning, right? It starts with the research. It starts with the measurement. And so Natalia is here to talk to us about just that from the Drako team. Special thanks to the Drako team for sponsoring this. We'll have a live event next week via LinkedIn Live, so stay tuned for the details in my newsletter or in the description of this video or on YouTube. Georgia will be talking about data measurement, which is a big conversation. So if you're interested in coming on, in joining in the live event, make sure you check it in the notes. Now, back to you, Natalia. Let's talk. How about before we get into the conversation, maybe you tell us about yourself, what you do at Draco, but also how did you wake up when you were 8 years old and told your parents, I'm going to be in programmatic media when I grow up? Was that it? Was that it for you?
Not at all.
Okay. Okay. So
Well,
tell us a little bit about how you fell into this position.
first, I want to say thank you for this
Oh,
beautiful introduction. Thank you so much for giving us the time, the space, the trust. Thank you so much for opening this creative space for other programmatic uh nerds.
thank you.
I love to call myself a nerd, to be honest. I would never thought of like I would be working in programmatic advertising or being as
Wow.
an account manager for a location data company. So
Right, right, right.
yeah, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you so much for the space. So my name is Natalia Ruelas. I was born in Mexico. You can hear a tiny accent,
A
or maybe a
very
huge
fine
accent. It's
accent.
a beautiful accent.
Of course.
Yeah. So yeah, I was born in Mexico, and then 5 years ago, I decided to study marketing in Canada. So I moved to Canada and I started marketing, and then I got my first job as a marketing coordinator. So I had like the first like the like a big picture of like, okay, this is what marketing looks like when working for a small company.
Oh,
And
wow.
then I decided, yeah, it was a small company, so I
Okay.
really enjoy working in small environments. I feel like I feel like the most talented people can be found in unique places, and we're
Yeah, I
good at.
agree.
So, do you agree?
Yeah, I feel like I worked for independent agencies most of my career, and the good thing is that the team is a little bit closer versus working now with some media holding companies today where things can be siloed. It can take time for one team to communicate with the others. I remember in my agency job, I was like literally across like we were right here in office so we could see each other. So yeah, it has this effect. So you started from a small perspective, a smaller media company, you said, or agency?
It was a jewelry store.
Oh,
But I
nice.
was, yeah, a jewelry store. We used to sell engagement rings and like
Oh,
diamond jewelry. So
yeah.
I did a little bit of everything, and I used to do social media ads. So that's how I started to like get to like understand the advertising world.
Advertising world. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
really
and I
cool.
really thank you, and I really loved it. So I found Draco, and we're
Oh,
all located in Montreal.
uh-huh.
And it's been almost 2 years that I work in the programmatic environment.
Wow, that is really cool. We don't hear that a lot. Like, oh, it's been 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, or whatnot. And I think it's refreshing to hear that one, it says a lot about Draco from a company perspective, but also about you. And so, with that said, how would you define your day to day to a 5-year-old, my 5-year-old daughter, Jade, or to my boomer parents? My parents are in their 60s. how would you define what you do to them, or like your day to day?
All right. I work for a company
Okay.
that has different clients.
Okay.
And me, what I do is I have my own clients. I'm the person in charge of communicating with my clients. So
Oh,
I'm like
okay.
the face of the company. So
Oh, wow.
my job is to communicate on a daily basis with these clients. What they are looking for is to either promote their services or promote their products in the internet.
Uh-huh.
But it's very specific because there are different ways of promoting a product
Good. This is
and
very
a
good. I'm
service.
impressed. I'm impressed.
Thank you. So, yeah, I work with clients from the United States, from Canada, and soon with Mexican clients because we're
Yeah.
also buying Mexican data. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's very interesting to also be able to speak in French with Quebecois clients.
Mm-hmm.
Some
Mm.
Canadian clients speak French.
That's
But
cool.
yeah, so what else? Oh, there's more involved, of course.
That's actually a very good way to explain what you do. I think both my mom and dad and my daughter would have understood you. Which is a great segue into today's conversation, media planning, right? We offer trainings and workshop with for traders, buyers, agency, pubs, you'll name it, publishers, ad tech. And a lot of the most popular workshop is optimization, data analytics, reporting, things like that. But like the second one, I would say, or the third most popular is media planning, how to plan, how to set up the DSP. But I'm always going back to what does your media plan looks like? What is the strategy? How do you come up with this audience? And Stuart really broke it down for us in the previous episode. And what he's recommended is that basically our whole conversation was working directly, how to select the right data partner. And working directly with a data partner like Drako, let's say, means you can have a lot of benefit. They can do a lot of customization on the back end for you. They can really take the targeting to the next level. I would say I think we used the example of a tailor versus going to Express buying a suit because my husband loves Express and he looks fine in those suits. But there's a different fine when he wears those tailored suits that he goes to the tailor because it really hugs his body the way it's supposed to, right? And so you
Yeah.
can go in a store and buy what you need, or you can have it tailored. So both can be great options as long as you know when to use it and why to use it. And so today, the what we really want to understand is a strategy where media planners involve data partners at the beginning of the campaign development, just not at the execution phase. Because what we promote is if you need to work with a data partner, the best way to see which one works well is to pull your data element or your audience report and then select him that way. But tell us how beneficial or how does early involvement from a data partner like Drako can really change a campaign performance?
Sorry, I'm just making some notes because
Yeah,
you covered a lot and I want to respond to everything.
do it.
So from my perspective,
Yeah.
I didn't know that you could actually go find a location data partner and they would
Hmm.
actually help you plan the whole
Wow.
strategy. As I told you before, I used to work like as a marketing coordinator
Yeah.
for this company,
Hmm.
and I had to plan everything by myself, had to think of different ways of targeting and. But now that I work in the programmatic advertising and work for a location data company, I understand that there are different ways of actually targeting who will be the
Hmm.
most like exactly the person you want to reach.
Yeah.
So I do feel like it's so important to have a trustworthy partner
Hmm.
who can actually help you plan in advance the whole campaign or the whole like year strategy that you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I get messages or emails from clients
Mm-hmm.
trying
Mm-hmm.
to like with a very specific idea in mind, like, hey, this is what we want to do.
Yeah.
And it's my job
Mm-hmm.
to really tell them, hey, actually, there are other ways that you could leverage
Of
our
course.
data.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, there's different ways to actually build a custom audience of
Mm-hmm.
IDs and users who can be even better for this campaign, who you can target, and you would get more. Yeah, it depends on the strategy, but yeah, you can get the most of it and even get the most of the budget. So I do feel like having with the
Mm-hmm.
data partner in the planning strategy, you
Mm-hmm.
can really understand one, if the audience is gonna be too small.
Yeah,
If the
that's
audience too
so good.
small, you're gonna reach them so many times, and it's gonna be like, okay, please stop. I don't like you anymore.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So reach and frequency. We as account managers, we're always teaching this, like, hey, actually, it's not a small audience doesn't mean that it's gonna be a more successful campaign. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the good reasons to work with the data partner is
Okay,
to know in advance how big or small the audience is going to be.
that's good. Mm-hmm.
Also, you can get more guidance towards planning. You can know, like, okay, these are the creatives that I need, but should I also add a video, or what's the pricing, or like how does it work? So it's very new what we can see in the programmatic world.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
went to a conference last week,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so much fun how new things are coming. Audio is really on trend right now, like audio campaigns. But me as an account manager, I need to understand, okay, but I shouldn't offer audio to every person because
Yeah,
might not be what the product is
it's so
about
good.
and what the client wants. So
Mhm.
it's very important also to work with the data partners so you can know the type of audience you want to reach, but also the type of strategy that it's the best for the type of the goal that you want. At
Mhm.
the end of the day, we all want different things, and
Mhm.
each
Mhm.
strategy, each channel is going to give you different paths to follow. Sorry,
Yeah.
I got too excited.
This is
Fun.
good because, and I appreciate you saying that the more specific the audience doesn't always equate to higher performance. If it's actually the opposite in my opinion. Sometimes you cannot have it too broad. You don't want to target everybody and their mamas. You cannot have it too strict. You cannot target only mom who like matcha tea and have three particular sons, one in rugby, one in soccer, the other one in dance, and then only speaks fluently Hispanic, multi-generational home that lives in this tiny zip code in a tiny county, only making household income of the like all of these are very beneficial to build an audience. And that's what we have the ability to do, but it's not always the right move. And at least
Yeah.
if you do have restriction, and I'm talking to my people on my podcast and the YouTube, if you have restrictive or restriction rather in your targeting, then there's always going to be somewhere you're always going to need to leverage somewhere else. And so reaching out to Natalia and her team can help you leverage this the capability the best way you can. What I mean by that is that if you have to go back to my mom, matcha tea, rugby, soccer kids example, Natalia can come back with audience details and say, this is a very strict, specific audience. This is what I'm seeing. It is too small for the type of strategy you're looking. How about we tested this one this way? And because I will have this awesome tools and I do this every day and I'm the expert at geolocation focused data providers, I recommend adding this and that and this at the same price. Here's the different ways to add it. Have your tracker or the tracking tag here and there so we can track on our end and optimize on our end. That's how it's supposed to be. And so doing it at the planning level allows you to really tell the client or your advertiser or your brand, this is going to work because of that. This may not work despite what you think, because I have the audience and I have the research tool to help you, because the performance is as successful as the plan. Many times I've seen campaign totally flop, total flop, because somewhere in the media plan we were only, I don't know, be something crazy like, I don't know, what's a crazy plan that you've received in the past, without giving us too much details, but give us an example of, we had this client come to us with this specific audience, but we recommended this instead. They agreed and it worked.
One good example that I always that I like to talk about is when clients wants to target real-time events.
Ooh, talk to us. That's so good.
Because sometimes it's just a 2-day event.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, yeah, I can definitely go build the polygons around the conference and target in real time people. Sometimes they think location data is just geofencing the conference and throwing ads to whoever it's inside of the polygons. When they ask me this, I love to say, yes, we can actually do it. If you really, really want to do it, we can do it, but we would suggest extending the campaign like 2 more weeks. So, and also to open up the geo targets, so that way we are still targeting users and event attendees while they're in the city. But my real advice would be, okay, yes, we can geofence and we can target the real-time events while they are there. But let me tell you something, not everyone is on their phone when they're in a conference, right? You also want to be present, you want to pay attention, so you might not be at the phone the whole time.
Yeah.
And then what I love to advise, and this is why, well, it depends on the capabilities that the data partner can offer.
Yeah.
What I do is I tell my clients, hey, can you actually give me another, like maybe the dates from last year and the year before of the same event, so I can build a custom audience of previous event attendees. So I launched the campaign with 2022, 2023, and 2024 event attendees in the same location of the 2025 event conference. And then I built an audience of the current event attendees of 2025.
Wow, that's cool.
So this really help us because also event attendees, if it's a work conference, they might come back. If it's a work conference, okay, I came last year, I'm definitely going next year.
Yeah.
So there are different ways of, I feel like you can also take more advantage of the budget. You can make sure that you're targeting that's target audience that actually makes sense to who you're looking for.
Man, that's so good. And it leads into my next question, which is location data, right? Like, what are some common misconceptions about location data? Like, what are things that actually, this is what you should know, and this is what we should not, like, what are misconceptions that maybe traders or clients come to you about, and you're like, nah, let me break it down for you.
A funny one is thinking that we're like tracking people on a personal level.
Oh.
Like when we build audiences, sometimes, or even when I explain to my friends, hey, what do you do? I build audiences based on
I target people.
Mobile IDs that I find on either conferences or anywhere. And they're like, Is that legal? It's so funny. Yes, it's legal
Yeah.
because we're not gathering, we don't have the email, we don't have the name, we have like the mobile ID.
Yeah.
So we're not tracking people or where they go. We're not tracking where you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Oh, wow.
Something fun that we do know, it's we have an ID, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And the ID can also guide me to a household, the
Mm-hmm.
household IDs. So we
Mm-hmm.
have the technology of like, okay, this is the seed audience, but this is the household audience. So
Oh, wow.
all these
That's
IDs that spend from like 11 p.m. until 3 a.m. with the seed audience. So these are ways to like extend
wow.
the audience as
That
such.
is actually a great way to explain it. Stuart and I last week we talked about, or last podcast rather, we touched on the signals and what it represent. In this whole cookie deprecation world that we are, maybe not, maybe a little. We really took the cookie as the main form of targeting, which had a serious, like had an intense targeting weight in the way we
Mhm.
reach audiences, but it's not the only signals. And so go back to listening to that episode if you're not familiar with what we're talking about. But every, at least based on a, now I remember, it's a Trade Desk research paper. I think it came out like a couple years ago though, in the current, where they talked about just that, like the average American had 20 to 20 devices in their household, 20 to 23, at least Americans. And each of them represent a signal. Like Natalia said, there's an ID attached to each of them. And I love what you said about having the seed ID against all this other idea that we're able to measure behavior between certain hours. I feel like taking it to that level even breaks it down even better in terms of why location data is super important and needs to be leveraged. And again, it don't work for everybody, and that's okay. Okay. But before you maybe exclude the opportunity, maybe ask the question, can it work first? And why not? And if it doesn't work, what else can work? Okay.
Yeah.
Because if we, and I've always said that too when I train people, even like when I was director of programmatic, I would always tell my team, like, if the partner really wants our business, they will tell us everything we want to know. But if we really ask them
Wow.
what's under the hood, what can you give us that is so different and unique without giving me the fluff? Like, what is this one thing you can really do for us that can make
Yeah.
you stand out and help us sell your service and capabilities in our next plan, which is more revenue for us, more revenue for you. And so, and I used to tell that all the time. Ask them what's under the hood, what's the unique
Yeah.
thing. I want you to remember this, like Bombura, I knew it was B2B, right? Drako was location based. Just like me and Stuart and I used to joke that we started way back when ninth decimal was in the trade desk and things like that before they got purchased and over. And now I don't even know what they're called anymore. So that's the important thing, is like when you're building your toolbox of partners, which you should be, if you're listening to me or watching Natalia and I, at least, you should be working on SPO for your own department, for your own agency. That means looking at your supply inventory, but you should not forget about your data partner inventory as well. And so you should always have these 5 to 20, maybe 15 partners where Draco's geolocation. Experian is, I don't know, Experian, the credit score in the US. So I don't know, financial service. Bombora is B2B. OpenX is known for curated. I don't know. You should always have these in your toolbox. And so maybe as we wrap up the conversation here, Natalia, can you maybe give us an example of like, can you give me an example of building a campaign from scratch with like a vague client brief? Have you ever received a client brief that just told you like, we just want to reach people? What's the what's a good example of a bad brief you maybe have received? And what should the brief receive? Because some of these people listening want to reach out to Drako or they want to reach out to another partner. So like what should they be? What should the brief include for the partner to really become the true partner and like a vendor that should be on the buy?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, as account managers, it's our our job to really guide our client. But I actually want to touch one point that you said before.
Yeah.
I feel like it's so important to know when
Ooh,
location data is not for
talk
the
to us.
client.
Mm-hmm.
And that happened to me once.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot go into details, but like this client came and we were like, you know what, let's just be honest.
This
It's
ain't
not
it.
gonna work. This is not, it should be like, there should go towards like a different path. And
Mm-hmm.
it's rare to find
Mm-hmm.
people. I do enjoy it when people is like honest and right
Yeah.
away, hey, actually, we cannot work with you. I'm so sorry. We're
Mm-hmm.
not who you're looking for and what
Yeah,
you need.
I agree.
Um, but
Because
yeah, okay. Oh, sorry.
because we don't have time to waste. Like, tell me for real. Like, we don't have time to waste. And I always like to tell that to people. The purpose of the call is to find out if we can work together or collaborate together, right? If
Yeah,
that's not a thing, we're new friends now, but at least you set the
yeah,
tone right. And I think that's what most traders, and I was one of them, make this is where we fall short of, is that we just send something to you, the partner, and expect you to be magically unicorn and use all your resources to make magic for us to outperform so we look even
yeah.
better in front of the client. Meanwhile, I'll send you an email with the client is the number one CPG brand in the US and global. They're potentially sending this budget. They're spending six figures, not even a number, right? Six figures a quarter. In the I said US already, but and the goal is awareness. And you're like, that's pretty much everything you do, right? Like, what else can you tell me? But on the back end,
Yeah,
our goal will be a ROAS goal, return on ad spend goals. We're able to track purchases on their website. We're also pushing for foot traffic to the distribution centers that they have. And then our budget is a little bit more healthy, right, than the six figures that I mentioned. And we're not targeting the US, we're targeting a specific region in the US. So, like, like giving you more details can really arm you and equip you to do the job that you're here to do because anybody
exactly.
got time for it, right? We don't have time to waste.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so, so helpful when the clients come to us and they have an idea of who they want to target first.
Mm-hmm.
Second, when they have at least a ballpark budget.
Mm-hmm.
Because with a budget, we can understand, okay, should we offer him um, like a more top of funnel strategy, or should
Yeah.
we drive them towards, because there's so many ways of targeting who you want
Mm-hmm.
and in programmatic and also building the audience. There's so many things that can be helpful.
Yeah.
So as you said, getting as much information as we want,
Mm-hmm.
it's how we can help you and all our clients to have the most performance campaign. I do want to name some things that I feel like
Tell us.
every like person should know. I feel like understanding or knowing, you can ask your data partner what are the industry benchmarks
Ooh,
of
okay.
of what you are
That's
running,
good.
because some people are used to running
Wow. Yeah.
campaigns on social media where
Mm.
the industry the clicks are like CTR are so high, so it's a little bit different from programmatic campaigns run on a DSP,
Yeah.
and then native campaigns have different CTRs than display. So really understanding what the KPIs are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, at the end of the day, it's all data and I'm gonna get the results of the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
What should I see? What am I looking for? How should I compare them?
Mhm.
And then that's number one, the benchmarks. Number two would be a goal. I feel like if the client comes to me without a goal, without knowing what to do or what they want, I could be offering
Yeah, I know.
a audio campaign, but I want clicks. So it's like,
Yeah.
well, maybe it, or I don't know, so many things. So yeah, it's important to know the goal.
Mhm.
And yeah, something that I really love to do, it's to drive um to build a strategy or like a campaign for a client with like the funnel in mind. So let's
Mm.
say, of course, it depends on the type of
Right.
campaign,
Yes.
but I really enjoy like, okay, maybe an audio campaign to
Mhm.
attract, we build an audience, we custom build an audience, and then we're gonna reach them first with an audio campaign. Then we make sure that every single user that
Yeah.
listened to the
Mhm.
audio, we're gonna
Mhm.
retarget them with
Mm.
online video.
Mhm.
And then with the online video, whoever watched the video, we're gonna retarget them with display ads.
Right.
So it's so much fun, and there's so many ways to build a very like a different campaigns for
Mhm.
different clients. But yeah, knowing the
That's
budget, knowing the KPI, knowing the goal, and of course the who you want to target, right?
this is so good, and I appreciate you saying this because again, I feel like we don't do a good job at letting our partner know the best way they can help us because we don't want to say too much, or they don't want to make, I don't know why, actually I don't even understand why they hold this type of information, like y'all gonna go straight to the client, or I don't understand that. I feel like there's a unspoken rule that if you're reaching out about, I don't know, Angie's List, which is a client that I've worked in the past with, like I would want you to know it's Angie's List, like
Yeah.
because like, so what is it? Thumbstack could be a competitor of Angie's List, or I don't know, in some regions. And so I would want to know everything so that what you do, you do it best. And also I think one of the mistake we do as buyers is that we are very closed door. We don't allow y'all to maybe track. And I know Georgia and I will talk about that next week on our live event.
Ooh.
But we'll talk about measurement and how important it is. But at the end of the day, is like we got to be able to see what we planned and compare and then learn from our mistakes. So I really appreciate you sharing that you need to know the full strategy in order for you to be the best. Um, Otherwise, this is not a partnership that's going to last, right? Because
Yeah,
couldn't
that's what
we
we're
couldn't come up.
here for.
Yeah.
We all want successful campaigns. We
Mhm.
all want to take the most of everything of the
Mhm.
budget to really accommodate the campaign,
Yeah.
to scale the campaign or the audience, or maybe reduce it, make it like more niche.
Yeah.
So yeah, at the end of the day, we all want to be happy with our campaigns and have successful campaigns, because also those are returning clients, right?
Yeah. 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 And
Yeah.
this made me think of like media planning without like early data involvement, like early research, or really pulling you as a partner into the conversation is almost like you trying to decorate a cake that's already been baked, already been frosted, and you have a plan. You have to plan the ingredients from the start to get the results you want. Like you can't just bake a cake and be like, oh, I want it to be marble cake now, or I want it to be a strawberry based cake, and you happen to bake a chocolate, right? Like it's like it doesn't make sense. So you have to know everything first, pull it out, lay it out. And if you want to experiment, which is what we do, then you can experiment as you go, right? And then you don't do it anymore if chocolate and strawberry don't match, or which it does for some people anyway. Thank you so much, Natalia, for dropping that by. This was very, very beneficial. This was so insightful. Again, this podcast was sponsored by the Drako Media team. Next week, we have a live event about data measurement, so you don't want to miss it. And the information is in the show notes. Natalia's information will be in the show notes as well and on this YouTube video description. But as a final question, Natalia, because you've mentioned audio so much, when was the last time you listened to anything you stream anything audio wise, listen to music, watch a podcast? Where did you listen to it and what was it?
That is so personal. No, I'm kidding.
We don't do personal, no PII.
No. So I love Spotify.
Okay. Spotify.
Spotify is my go-to. It is my go-to for like podcast. It has to be on Spotify.
Okay. So you listen to Spotify.
It might have been yours.
You listen to our podcast to prep up.
I listened to the Programmatic Digest. I was like, okay, what am I getting into?
And you still showed up. Dang, we're doing something
Oh
right.
Yeah. Let me tell you, you're doing an excellent job. It's so marvelous.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, you heard it here first.
Yeah, no, but I wanted to tell you something before we wrapped up.
Nice.
Remember in our first reunion, the first time we met, you asked me what my talent was.
Yes, your superpower. I didn't even ask this question. Yes, you didn't. So what is your superpower?
Well, after I heard yours, which is always being happy, I swear to you, I was like, and I spoke to Georgia about it, and we were like, we both have that superpower. That's our talent as well. So we really liked you because, well, I do believe that I have that talent
It's
also.
a superpower. I think it is.
Being grateful, being happy, knowing that, okay, every single situation that comes to your life, there's always a positive outcome, and it's gonna be fine. And it helps us to grow and to become better. So I love that talent of yours.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Natalia. And I could tell you're very, very, you're happy, you're enthusiastic, and it's contagious. And I think that's a superpower in my book. And that's what I have as well. So thank you so much for dropping by.